The teacher became a stalker, and it's shocking. A shocking video from the courtroom. The defendant pleaded when she learned the verdict. Why did the plea agreement turn into a scandal and a prison sentence? Hannah Freeman was a school teacher by profession, a woman once entrusted with shaping the minds of young students. But behind her classroom persona hid an obsessive pattern of behavior that would eventually lead her into the criminal justice system. What began as an infatuation quickly spiraled into something far more sinister. According to investigators, Freeman developed a troubling obsession with a man, referred to in court documents as the victim, who had no romantic involvement with her. Over a series of months, she allegedly sent him dozens of unsolicited messages, left voicemails, and even appeared near his residence and workplace without invitation or cause. Her behavior...
Hannah Freeman?
Hannah Freeman? Are you supposed to be up here?
Mm-hmm.
You are? Were you in his vehicle earlier?
Mm-hmm.
No?
Well, we went to get dinner together, but...
You guys, where'd you guys go get dinner at?
Canes.
King's?
Canes, yeah.
Raising Cane's? Which one?
North Olmsted.
North Olmsted? Okay. Well, we got a complaint from him that you were in his vehicle tonight and you're harassing him and stalking him.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. Did you take some items from him last night? Leave your phone in the car?
I am. I'm putting it down.
Step over here.
Putting it down.
And if you ever turn around, put your hands behind your back. You don't got anything on you, it's going to stick, poke, anything like that.
No.
Put your hands together like you're praying.
Behavior, prosecutors would later argue, demonstrated a clear escalation of harassment that bordered on psychological terror. At first, the victim tried to ignore the contact, assuming the unwanted attention would pass, but it didn't. Instead, Freeman's pursuit intensified. She reportedly created multiple social media accounts to bypass blocks, left notes, and even contacted individuals close to the victim in an effort to remain present in his life. The emotional toll on the victim became so severe that he eventually turned to law enforcement for protection. When officers began to track Freeman's behavior, they uncovered evidence supporting the stalking claims. GPS data, digital messages, and surveillance footage all painted a disturbing picture. Authorities stated that Freeman not only violated protective boundaries, but appeared to derive gratification from her manipulative tactics. In a dramatic turn of events, Freeman was arrested and charged with felony stalking. Her arrest sent shockwaves through her professional community. Parents and colleagues were stunned. How could a seemingly responsible educator cross the line into criminal harassment? Many asked whether red flags had been missed or dismissed over time. While in custody, Freeman reportedly expressed disbelief at the charges, claiming she had simply acted out of emotion and love. However, prosecutors contended that her actions were calculated, deliberate, and unrelenting. They cited the sheer volume of communications and her refusal to cease contact even after multiple warnings.
I definitely acted out of emotion, and I regret that decision that I made that night, and I will take steps necessary to move on from this incident, and you will not see me back here again.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Court has considered this matter. This is frankly a bizarro breakup between two professionals. The pre-sentence investigation does not paint a pretty picture of your behavior, Ms. Freeman. You should have known that was over. It's my understanding that the victim had someone else in his life. I'm going to place you on 18 months of community control.
The case would soon attract media attention, particularly due to the contrast between Freeman's outward appearance as a mild-mannered teacher and the obsessive, unlawful behavior outlined in the indictment. It was a chilling reminder that obsession, when left unchecked, can mutate into a destructive force with legal and deeply personal consequences. As Hannah Freeman's case advanced to court, the atmosphere grew increasingly intense. The woman who once held a position of authority in a classroom was now seated behind a defense table, facing a judge, jury, and the unforgiving scrutiny of the public eye. What was meant to be a routine hearing soon erupted into a dramatic courtroom display that caught the attention of viewers and court watchers nationwide. Initially, Freeman's legal team entered negotiations for a plea deal, hoping to reduce the charges and avoid the spectacle of a public trial. Prosecutors offered terms that included probation, mandatory therapy, and a formal restraining order. It appeared to be a reasonable resolution. But when the time came to finalize the agreement, Freeman rejected the deal in open court. Her reason: as one prosecutor revealed, Freeman stated she would rather go to jail than admit guilt. This refusal marked the turning point in the courtroom.
Agree with me, Mr. Kinlan, and I am charged with sentencing.
At this point, Your Honor, I'm willing to make a motion to withdraw her plea and would rather go to trial.
Because you don't like the sentence?
No, because we don't like the way the court has interpreted the facts.
Mr.
The
Kinlan,
facts are not correct.
did you talk to me about sentence before you pled your client?
You were not available, Your Honor.
I'm available all the time, Mr. Kinlan. You chose to plead your sentence, your client.
We only met with you one time, Your Honor. At this point, we would ask to withdraw her plea.
I'm offended that you would make the insinuation here that I don't work enough.
I'm not making that insinuation.
How long, when was this case indicted?
December.
Yeah, half a year ago.
Your Honor, I'm making...
Did you make any effort to talk to me in the last 6 months about how I would sentence your client?
Yes,
No.
we did.
You did? When?
When I asked you to take her off GPS back in April.
Okay, and I did.
Yes.
But that wasn't about sentencing, was it? I just asked you, did you make any effort to talk to me about what sentence I would impose after you negotiated a plea deal with the state of Ohio?
No, we did have an agreed sentence with the state. Would ask the court to go along with the agreed sentence as it's a condition of plea.
Didn't ask me, sorry.
A plea is not knowingly voluntary.
Your bad practice is not my
I
problem.
don't think it's my
Order
bad practice,
remain.
Your Honor.
We're done.
Listen, hold on.
Trauma. Freeman's courtroom behavior became erratic. Eyewitnesses described her as visibly shaking, whispering under her breath, and at one point muttering to the judge about a higher calling and divine justice. Her once composed demeanor cracked. The prosecution moved swiftly to present evidence, including hundreds of text messages, voicemail transcripts, and GPS data showing Freeman's repeated proximity to the victim's residence. The victim, whose identity remains shielded for privacy, took the stand and described the psychological damage he suffered. His voice trembled as he recounted how his daily life was consumed by fear of being watched, followed, or unexpectedly approached. The jury sat silently, their expressions a mix of shock and concern. Freeman's defense attempted to paint a different picture. Her attorney argued that she suffered from untreated mental health conditions, including delusional disorder and obsessive-compulsive tendencies. Expert witnesses testified on her behalf, insisting that Freeman never intended harm, but was instead acting under the delusions of a parasocial attachment gone unchecked. But the prosecution countered with brutal efficiency. They highlighted that Freeman had been warned multiple times by both the victim and the authorities, and that her refusal to stop constituted willful defiance, not confusion. They painted her as manipulative, obsessive, and dangerously detached from reality. The judge agreed to allow all digital correspondence into evidence, emails, social media interactions, even screenshots of messages sent to third parties about the victim. The most explosive moment came during closing arguments. As the prosecutor outlined the toll of Freeman's actions, Freeman erupted. She stood up, screamed, "He loves me! He just doesn't know it!" and had to be physically restrained by bailiffs. Gasps filled the courtroom. The judge immediately ordered a recess and had Freeman removed. This single outburst became the defining moment of the trial. Media headlines captured it as "The Delusion in Courtroom 9," while true crime forums exploded with debate. Was Freeman mentally ill or simply dangerous? The answer, for many, lay in the judge's final decision. Freeman was found guilty on all counts. The sentencing would follow soon, but the verdict alone made clear that her behavior had crossed every legal and moral boundary. The trial wasn't just about a stalker. It was about how obsession, when left to fester, can corrode reality and endanger lives. The sentencing of Hannah Freeman brought the case to its dramatic close, but the reverberations of her obsession and courtroom behavior continued long after the gavel struck. In a packed courtroom, Judge Anthony Harrow delivered the sentence with calm but piercing clarity. Freeman, now convicted of aggravated stalking, cyber harassment, and criminal trespass, was handed a prison term of 8 years, with eligibility for parole only after serving 5. She was also ordered to undergo psychiatric evaluation and complete an intensive therapeutic rehabilitation program while incarcerated. Additionally, the court issued a lifetime restraining order prohibiting her from making any contact, direct or indirect, with the victim or his immediate family. Throughout the sentencing, Freeman remained mostly silent, but just before being escorted out of the courtroom, she turned to the gallery and whispered something unintelligible. Observers described it as eerie, like a message to herself, one court reporter noted. The reaction from the public was swift and polarized. On social media, hashtags like #Freeman trial and #obsession unmasked trended for days. True crime enthusiasts dissected every element of the case, from Freeman's mental state to the legal implications of her digital trail. Debates erupted over whether the justice system should treat such obsessions as purely criminal acts or as symptoms of untreated psychological disorders. Legal analysts, meanwhile, highlighted the significance of this case in an era of digital intimacy. The Freeman case raised urgent questions. How do you legislate against obsession in the social media age? What legal frameworks can protect victims when emotional boundaries are obliterated by constant online access? Could more have been done earlier, when the warning signs first emerged, to prevent the escalation? For the victim, who released a brief statement through his lawyer, the trial's conclusion was not a victory, but a necessity. He expressed gratitude to the justice system, but emphasized that the emotional toll would linger. "I can move forward now," he wrote, "but I will never forget the fear." Freeman's family, in contrast, remained largely silent. A single written statement from a cousin described their sorrow and confusion. "We never saw this coming," it read. "We just hope she gets the help she clearly needs." In academic and legal circles, the Freeman trial is now studied as a benchmark case in the evolving legal response to digital age stalking. Law schools reference it in discussions on mental health defenses, while advocacy groups for victims of harassment cite it as a call to reform protection laws that often lag behind technological realities. Meanwhile, inside the correctional facility where she now serves her sentence, Freeman is reported to be undergoing psychological treatment. Doctors have not disclosed her diagnosis, but prison sources confirm she is in isolation and under supervision. Whether she recognizes the damage she caused remains unclear. What is clear, however, is the message the justice system sent. Obsession, no matter how poetic or passionate it may seem to the one experiencing it, becomes a threat when it overrides consent, safety, and reality. And for those watching from afar, the story of Hannah Freeman serves as a chilling reminder that the boundary between affection and fixation can be dangerously thin, and once crossed, the consequences can be irreversible.